Welcome to Parchment Update, an interview series from the Parchment Community Library to bring your community closer to you. I'm Karen Woodworth, Library Ambassador. Joining me today is Children's Librarian Barb Bussema, also known as Mrs. B. We're going to talk about Parchment Power Bookopoly. Barb, thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
Well, I'm really excited about our summer reading program. It is starting Monday, June 5th, and is open to readers of all ages. So we've got 4 age divisions, starting with the very smallest children. Barb, can you talk us through the game boards and prizes for children?
Sure. Our youngest age group is the 0 to 3 category, and the activity calendar is called 0 to 3 Read to Me. And the parents will pick up a calendar for their children, and on the calendar are activities for each day of the month, June and July. And the instructions are to complete an activity a day. So as you do an activity with your child, you get a little strip of stickers, put a sticker on that day. And when you have completed 10 activities, you can bring your calendar back in for a prize, and the prize for 10 days are some stickers. Or you can continue and keep going, and then you would work yourself up to 20 days of activities, which would be a Twister's ice cream cone coupon. And then the final one would be 30 days of activities, which would give you a Pizza Hut coupon and a free board book. And so that's the earliest, 0 to 3, and that goes all the way through the end of July, but for 2 months. Then the next age group is ages 4 through 5th grade, and that's the Bookopoly. And the activity sheet or the game board that the children use is similar to a Monopoly board, but as they travel around the board, they will, for each square they land in or choose to do, they would read for 20 minutes a day and do the example that's listed for that day. For instance, read under a tree, or read with sunglasses on, or something silly like that. And the instructions are pretty much the same for prizes, but the prizes are a little different. If they read for 10 days, you get 10. Oh, I didn't mention that they will get a strip of stickers, and they will put a sticker on the day they complete. And if they complete 10 days of reading, they can bring their Bookopoly sheet back in, and they can get a flying disc, or they can keep going and without bringing it in. Then you would complete 20 days for a free Twister's ice cream cone coupon. 30 days is a Pizza Hut coupon. After you've completed 30 days, you can fill out a raffle ticket, which would give you a chance to win the grand prize, which is 4 tickets to the Kalamazoo Air Zoo on a day of your choice. So some kids in the past they like to come in 10, 20, 30, but other kids like to do it all at the same time and come in once and get all their prizes at the end, and that's fine too. So that's it.
Okay, well, for teens and tweens and adults, I'm going to start with the prizes and then talk about the game boards, I think. So the goal for the teens, tweens, and adults is to read up to 10 books this summer. Although I say that you can read 15 or 20, but we can only give prizes for up to 10 books. And so we've got prizes for halfway there at 5 books, and prizes for completing all 10. And so the halfway prizes are these adorable little cord critters. They're made to sit on your charging cords. They apparently have a actual protective purpose to help the cord from not getting bent so much, but they are just the cutest little things. This is a little tiger. We also have a little slice of pizza, a little bee. We've got some bee things going on this summer. And so that's the halfway prize. And then the prize for reading 10 books is a power bank. and you'll see that it has the Parchment Power logo on it. It does come with its charging cord, and the idea behind this is that you can charge it up and have a little portable power source in case you're out somewhere and your phone dies or some other piece of equipment with a USB cord dies. It's got a little bit of charge that'll get you going through there. Okay, so how do you go about reading the 10 books? Well, we're also using a game board that's based on the Monopoly theme. It's called Bookopoly. And for every square, there's a prompt. And so some of the prompts are things like read a science fiction book, read a romance book, read a book about Michigan history. And there's some that are read a book with a letter P in the title, P being for parchment, read a book with the word community or power in the title, because our theme is Parchment Power, and we really are trying to make this about the community. There's even one of read a book with fewer than 200 pages. Those can be trickier to find than you think, but we've got some. Read a book over 400 pages. So some of them are pretty general. So there's basically 3 ways you can use this board. The first way, if you already know what you want to read, then you should notice that there are 8 reader's choice spaces on here. So you can fill all those up with books of your choice, and for your final 2 books, find some squares that apply to the other books that you want to read. The second way to read the board is if you want some inspiration on what you're reading, just go around and pick a prompt that sounds good to you and then hunt up a book that matches that. And then the third way, of course, is you can actually play this like a game board. You'll have to get yourself a marker and a coin, or maybe a thimble or something would work. Start on the square that says go to library, get yourself a pair of dice, roll the dice, and move that space and do whatever that prompt tells you to do. So I'm hoping that you'll have a lot of fun with this. Now, each time you read a book, you'll be logging the book. When you bring your board in, for each of those that you've logged, you will get a sticker to put on your game board and show that you've completed that square, and you'll get a ticket for our grand prize drawing. And so the grand prizes for the teens and tweens who will use the same board are $20 gift certificates to local businesses. There are 5 prizes in total, so we'll be drawing out 5 tickets, only 1 prize per winner. And then the same thing for adults. It'll be drawing from a separate basket, but it will also be $20 gift certificates to local businesses. So we're hoping that people have a lot of fun with that. And of course, our theme is Parchment Power. So we've designed parts of summer reading specifically to be about our community. And I've got a few things I can talk about, but first, Barb, I'd like to ask you to talk about the programs you have this summer that are specifically related to Parchment's history as a papermaking community.
Sure. Well, one of the main things is a craft program that I'm going to have. It's going to be called Drop-In Craftivities, and each session will deal with one type of paper. So the first session, we're going to do a craft that has to do with parchment paper, and then wax paper, newspaper, wrapping paper, rice paper, and we might just keep going. But you'll enjoy making a craft with that particular paper, and it will be a craft that you'll take home. It's also just a drop-in, so once you can come and make the craft, you don't have to stay the entire time. You can leave when you're done. So that's that with the paper. That's really all I have with paper.
Well, I think we also have the family papermaking workshop,
Oh, yes, the family paper making. Yes, Karen, that's good. Thank you.
which
Yeah.
we are practicing, by the way.
That's right. Yes, the family paper making workshop is for families. So children need to come with their family or with an adult family member. And that's going to be 2 evenings in the summer, and you will learn how to make paper. Just like Karen and I are going to learn how to make paper.
Yep. Yep. Some of the other activities we have specifically geared toward Parchment. First of all, we have 2 photo backdrops you can come in and do photos with selfies, or you can ask one of us to take your photo with a backdrop. One is a big backdrop of some of the workers at the Kalamazoo Vegetable Parchment Company from fairly early on in the 20th century. And this was created from an old photograph. Another one is of Mr. Kindleberger, sometimes known as Uncle Jake, the founder of KVP, and his photo backdrop has been peeking out of the local history room for the last couple of months. So if you've wondered what's going on with that, you'll get to see that up close this summer. We also have some new historic banners that are going to be going up specifically as part of our summer reading. And so look for those, and we'll have a little exhibit about the history of KVP coming soon. But for teens and tweens and adults, there are also ways to get rewarded for participating in learning about the community. And these are the community cards. Because, you know, in Monopoly, you go around the board and sometimes you land on a square and you have to draw a card and something happens. So we tried to have something parallel to that and came up with the idea of community cards. So there are 8 of those. Each one has a different activity on it. And some of them are things you do by yourself, like picking up one of our Riverview Drive scavenger hunt sheets or watching a Parchment history video on the library website. But others are for actually helping out in the community. So one of them is about volunteering with the community cleanup crew, or volunteering with the Sunken Garden crew, or even volunteering with the Kindleberger Festival. So there are 4 community card squares, and you'll be drawing a community card at the library desk. And here's how it's different from Monopoly. If you draw a card and you've already done it, or it's something you don't actually want to do right then, you could draw another card. You can keep on going until you get to the one that you particularly feel like doing that week. So I'm hoping that'll be fun for people too. All right, well, so we've talked a bit about programs. And so Barb, what other programs do you have coming up as part of summer reading that you'd like to talk about today?
Oh, I think one really exciting thing is our pause to read, reading to dogs. The therapy dogs that have been joining the library throughout this past year are coming back in groups on specific days in the summer, not every week, but one day in June and one day in July and one day in August. And we're encouraging kids to sign up to read to a dog. You wouldn't read to all of them at once, even though all the dogs would be here. So you are able to choose a 10-minute slot. You can sign up on our website or come in and sign up at the desk. And if you are one of the lucky ones that gets to read for 10 minutes, we'll give you a book and we'll give you a paw sticker. And I think it's a good way to practice your reading out loud. It's just a good way to do that. And plus the dogs love it. So the schedule of that is in the brochure. So some other things, of course, we always have story time in the park, and that will be on Wednesdays. And we are going to have stories on the lawn again, but this time we're not having all teachers. We're going to have the community, the city hall, workers from the city hall, and then of course the teachers and staff from the schools. We'll have the silly sidewalk again. That is always an exciting thing. Kids love that. So that will be on the north side of the library as usual. And a couple scavenger hunts are being planned. I'm not going to give away any secrets or hints. You just have to come in and see what it is. And then there will always be crafts for kids create. So if you stop in and don't have much to do, you can sit and do a craft or a scavenger hunt. And then we're going to continue with the role-playing club. That will be on Friday, June 16th. And another thing we're adding is a Dads and Donuts story time on Saturday, June 17th, which is the day before Father's Day. And we're encouraging dads to bring their little ones to story time and course, there'll be donuts. So,
Donuts, those are
Donut.
so yummy.
yeah. Oh, I forgot about our magic show. We do have a magician coming on Tuesday, June 20th at 2 o'clock. He has been here before. He's a pretty popular magician. And we haven't had a performer here for a couple years, so we're looking forward to having a big crowd. And that will be, as I said, Tuesday, June 20th at 2 o'clock. And we're gonna limit it to 100 people. So that doesn't sound like, it sounds like a lot, but it'll fill up fast. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, those all sound great. And I have a few other programs I'd like to add. First of all, thinking back to the bee that I had a little bit ago, we actually have beekeeper Charlotte Hubbard coming to talk on Tuesday, June 13th. Her program's titled Beyond the Bee's Knees, and she's sharing some insights about honeybees and some personal reflections about beekeeping as well. And then we have 2 additional craft nights. These aren't about making paper, but they're about felting. It's really easy to buy a square of felt in the store and not even think about what felt actually is. So I find it kind of fascinating to think about the ways that felt is created. So Holly Jensen from the Friday Fiber Arts group that meets at the library is going to lead 2 workshops, and they are suitable really for ages 10 and over. And the first one is a wet felting workshop. You can either make a mug rug or a soap bar. So again, these are geared for adults, also suitable for teens and tweens. And wet felting is really approachable. The second one is to make a felted bookmark using needle felting. That one's going to be on Thursday, June 22nd. And again, adults, teens, and tweens. But she asked me to be sure that people know that these needles they use are not like your average sewing needles. They are really, really sharp needles. So if you think you might accidentally stick yourself with the needle, maybe this isn't the right workshop, but I'm sure she'll share some tips for being careful, extremely careful with these super sharp needles. And then on the very last day of summer reading, which is August 12th, we're going to have one more drop-in program that ties into our eclipse programming. And it is a program on observing the sun. That's going to be Saturday, August 12th, 11:30 to 12:30. You can drop by and find out about safe ways to observe the sun. Members of the Kalamazoo Astronomical Society will be helping out with that. All right, so at this point, we should probably talk about the registration process.
Registration is strictly in person. You need to come into the library and fill out a registration form. All we ask is for your name and phone number and which Bookopoly or 0 to 3 activity, whatever reading group you're going to participate in. And that's it. That's pretty simple, but you do have to come in to do it. We're not having any online registration.
Yep, just turn in that little registration form, get your game board, and you're good to go.
That's right.
All right, well, I'm realizing that I forgot to mention when you complete one of those community card activities, you get a different kind of sticker for your board. And you also get a raffle ticket for each one of those that you do. Barb, what else would you like us to know?
I think I've covered everything. I think it's important to know that all of our activities are, you don't have to worry about registering. There's just a few that you have to register for, but for most part, if you feel like coming to the library that day, there's always something to do. Our brochures, the summer reading brochures will be available. They'll be right when you walk in, and you can pick up a brochure and see what we have to offer.
Yeah, and thanks for mentioning that bit about registering for the programs, because as you say, most of them don't require registration,
Right.
but a couple of them do, primarily because of space concerns, and those 2 felting workshops that I mentioned about do require pre-registration, but there's no charge to participate in those. All right, well, we hope everybody enjoys reading this summer and participating in Parchment Power. Barb, thank you so much for being here today to talk about this.
You're welcome. My pleasure.